Hey, Stereo Azimuth here, and I noticed I haven't done like a DIY or like fix it video in a while, and I've been meaning to do this. I actually ordered this kit for my JBL tweeters. I have some JBL 035i tweeters that go with my JBL or these L20Ts. All right. And these are my like bookshelf speakers that I use as like near fields and in my main setup because I like vintage JBL guy, and I really like these tweeters. And I think these tweeters get a bad rap because yes, they're titanium, but what happens is they actually have foam on the inside, like behind it, to keep it kind of damped and under control to where the metal is not like ringing out. And over time, a lot of the foam is worn out and it needs to be replaced. Now, I bought a kit off eBay that comes with this, and I don't know if you can see it, but basically it's two foam little pads and two little discs, and I'll explain that when we get into the video. There's already a really great video on how to do this, which I'll post in the description. Where is it? Description over here. And that video like covers a lot. Two of the things though that he doesn't necessarily do, which I had to do the research and find, which what I'm bringing to you, and the links are in the description, but it's a link to this kit that you can buy on eBay. Now, in the making of this video, the seller did not have these in stock. However, you can probably inquire and find out when the seller might get some in stock if you have these tweeters and have this issue. The other thing is there is a and I'll go over this when I actually do it, because I'm actually going to do it here in a second. But basically, there's a little what holds on this grill to keep fingers from touching it and mashing it in, is there's a little just cord. It's the same type of small cord that you'd see like on a lot of, like, if you've done like window screens or something like that. It's this rubber thing. And what's also happened over time, because it's like a rubber cord, it has deteriorated over time, and it's probably going to fall apart on you once you go to take it off and take it apart. Because to actually get to get this off, there's 4 screws on the outside to get off the whole plate, and that's the whole kit and caboodle. But to actually get the diaphragm out, you've got to take the grill off to get to those 4 screws to take all of that out. So it's not that difficult a procedure per se. There's a little bit of care involved, but I think that, doesn't really take a huge degree of difficulty, I don't say, to do this kind of thing. It's very, very easy afternoon DIY project. If your tweeter is completely blown, do not worry. Yes, you can find vintage 35 Ti tweeters. However, there is a company that actually makes them and sells them, and like brand new. The patents on these have worn out, and they now make them because it's a very popular tweeter, and you can use it, even if you wanted to do a DIY design of like your own like JBL style speaker and use this tweeter, or to replace something, to replace a tweeter. And so I'm sure, I haven't tried the replacement, but I'm sure it's exactly like the original. I looked for comparisons of it, and I didn't really see any. So I guess people are very satisfied with the tweeter. Otherwise, they would have been writing crazy on the internet how they bought this replacement. It didn't sound as the same. But all we're gonna do is just replace the foam. So I'm gonna pause my video, which you won't see. I'm gonna reset, and we'll come back and I'll actually go through the procedure of replacing this. Replacing the foam behind the tweeter, which, yes, there's foam in there. All right, so now we have the tweeter. I'll also post a link to this little, I love these rubber mats, which is cool. But anyway, this is the we're just gonna take this off. What you can do is just that's not the right tool that I wanted. You get a small screwdriver, and just gonna move the mic for a second, and just get under there. I don't know if you can see, but it's already kind of like broken in a couple spots. Actually, there's another spot there, but so I can actually lift mine, but you can see here's where it's kind of broken. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there's a spot that's where there's a crack, because it's not just like, it's not one piece. And so here it's already kind of done the work for me, lifting it up. Yours, if it's brand new and it hasn't been lifted up, it'll need a little help. And like I said, it's probably a little disintegrated by this point. Mine is mostly disintegrated. Fell apart in a couple pieces, but I've got a replacement. You buy the replacement cord from Amazon, and I have the cord here. So, but the main thing, now we have this. Now these are like hex, and I can throw this away now because I'm not going to use it, but these are, and we need to keep this aside. These are hex bolts. I just want to stop this video for a second and address something, because I posted the pictures of this on a website or on a forum, and somebody said, man, clean those screws. They got rust all over them. And yeah, they do. Look, if I wanted to make them look like they were fresh from the factory, I would take a brush to them. I would replace them. I would, do something. I mean, if I was really to restore them completely, yes. But I mean, for me, I don't really care that much about a little surface rust. They also sit behind the grill, and you can barely even see the screws to begin with, or see even what color that they are. So the fact that they have a little surface rust on them, it doesn't bother me that much. Maybe if I was to look at it like all the time. And also remember, L20Ts, I mean, it was probably even going to sit behind like, grill cloth or something like that. So, but if you're doing a full restoration, far be it from me to, judge your restoration. You restore it to the level that you were happy with, and I'll restore it to the level that I'm happy with. So, and then we'll just go from there. But I just wanted to point that out, that, I'm not here to fix the screws. The video is simply on how we're going to replace that foam and how we're going to put everything back together once we do replace it. So I think I've got the right. No, that's the wrong one. That one's too small. Let me find the right one, and I'll take these out. All right, once you have all 4 screws out, all you should have to do is carefully, use both hands and just lift straight up. Okay? And what you'll see is that here is the magnet, and here is the foam. And you can see my foam is very, very disintegrated. Not quite there anymore. I knew mine was going to be disintegrated when I looked at the bolts, and these bolts were very rusty. And, I was like, well, if they've been rusty, that means they've probably been in a moisture environment, like a garage or an attic or something like that, which means the foam is likely going to be deteriorated. So, you don't have to mess with this, okay? If your dome is pushed in, then you can now push your dome back. You can actually go on the back side, and if you want to, you can clean off the foam here. Just be very careful. It's titanium. You don't want to mess with it too much, and you don't want to mess with the leads too much. But basically you can set that aside, because the main job is going to be cleaning this off, and then we're going to clean the gap of the magnet, of the coil, the gap here, and then we're going to affix the new foam into place. But the main thing is we got to clean this off, and you mainly just clean this off it's stuck on, and I'm just going to take a screwdriver, and the big major piece is coming up, which is what I like. I'm just kind of scraping until I get, the piece that's bad, and I set that aside. And some people, if you want, like, you can take a piece of paper and put it in the gap so like nothing gets in the gap at this time. So if you want to be very clean and neat about it, just cut a piece of paper and cut it out, and I'll do that right quick so I can show you that process. So 1 second here. So I cut a strip of paper about this long and just wrapped it around and stuck it in the coil. So therefore, I know it kind of gets in the way, but it's going to help me as I clean up this stuff. And you can clean this with alcohol. This is a lot of like junk. This is a lot more junk than I'm like wanted to clean up. So I'm going to be working here. I'm going to grab a longer screwdriver here. The magnet, it is magnetized, so just be careful. But you can scrape this clean, and because you want it as clean as possible. So, because that's what the new foam is going to lay on top of, and then that little dot is going to sit underneath. So I'm just going to sit here and clean, and I'll come back when it's all done, when it's all cleaned up. And then once I get most of the foam like off, most of this dirty stuff, I'll come back through with some alcohol and some Q-tips and clean off the rest of it. Nothing like too harsh chemicals. I think that'll be fine. Most of this is coming off pretty decently. It's just the sticky stuff that is like the worst of it. And so there we go. And then I can, since I got a little cup, I can just dump it out in the trash can. And there we go. So that's my little mat keeps moving. So we'll come back after I get all this cleaned up. Okay, got everything cleaned off. Got all this clean the gap, clean like everything. Let me move that. It's nice. This is just metal. But yeah, I got, most of the nasty stuff off. And now this is the kit. This is what comes with the kit. So there's these two little dots, and then there's the foam. So, and how this goes on is that the little dots have a little sticky on the bottom. What you're going to do is you're going to peel the little sticky stick off real carefully, and you're going to put it directly in the middle of the thing, which I don't know, that's a little off. I didn't set it down too difficult, but I'm trying to get it as close to the middle as you can. That looks pretty good to me. So now once I push it down, it's going to hopefully keep it in place. And what's going to happen, I don't want to mush it, too much, but basically what you're going to do is you're going to put this on top, and it's going to make like a sandwich. And you can see there's a little bit of gap even when it sits on top. And what you want to do is when you put this back on, these 4 holes have to line up with 4 holes here. So it doesn't really like kind of matter the orientation because it's just like a magnet. But a lot of times I like to match the kind of like the top with the top. So yeah, it's kind of like that. But it has to be centered. And then this is a very sort of delicate procedure because you can't really see like what you're doing at this point. Like you can't really see it all, but where you're centered. You can try to like put a screw in, and that's what I did before, is like put a screw in and then kind of look to the side and see where you are. You can also, like what I'm going to do now, is actually push the foam in here. So then when I put it on top, it's going to like center out basically. But you don't want to push in. You have to be very careful to not bend the coil, where the coil is going to go in very gently. So this is a very, like I said, this is a very sort of, it's the most delicate procedure of them all, because you want the foam to kind of be in the middle, but you want the coil to go into the groove. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do it by sight from the side, kind of look at it that way. All right, there we go. Now it's in. Now what I can do is I can kind of use my flashlight and I can kind of see, because now I should be able to rotate it. I should be able to see, and where's my other flashlight? The holes. So now I've rotated it to where I can see the 4 screw holes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm holding it in, and I'm going to put in a screw just by hand, and I'm going to put in another screw by hand on the other side. And there goes my flashlight. But once you have this, once you have it in, then you should be good. Cord and some scissors. And I've got plenty of cord. And all you do with the cord, if I can find the parts that's the end. Oh, here it is you just put it, just go ahead and start putting it in. And you put it in just by taking like your screwdriver, and I want to get a flathead screwdriver, a small flathead if I can, and just kind of push it in there, okay, and just go around. And it doesn't matter what length that you want. If you want to see what length, you can, so you don't have a bunch, but just cut more than you probably need at first, because what's going to happen is that it's going to push in and it's going to probably shrink up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little bit longer than I'm going to probably come out to here. And I'm going to take my scissors and cut it just so I don't get like too much. And just so I can push the other cord out of the way. And all I'm going to do is push it down to where it's holding it in. And then, like I said, if you buy the size in the description, then this should work very, very well. And this is working a lot better than the disintegrated stuff I was using when I put this back together. It's working quite nicely. And you just kind of tuck it in. You don't really have to force it. It's just kind of holds it in by back pressure. So you just want to make it to where it's just below the edge of the thing here. And then when we get to the end, what we'll do is we'll just cut it. Now I'm near the line. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go a little bit out and just use a cutter. Use a box cutter. And I'm just going to cut. And I've already made a mark. Looks like I don't want to force myself through, because then I'm going to cut the thing. So I'm just going to do that. Cut it. And then it should line up. I've got a little bit of gap in there, about the width of my screwdriver, but that is not too bad at all. If I look at that, looks very well done, and it's going to stay in there pretty well. It's not going to move. Now all I got to do is put this in, and we are all done. Of course, the positive and negative, it's easy because like one side has the receiver end, and the other side has a blade, so you know which one is which. So all I'm going to do is do the other side now, and that is it. So I hope that this helps out somebody with some JBL TI 35. Tweeters, just know that they do have foam. So this should be part of everybody's like refoam procedure. If you're refoaming the speakers and the speakers are already, foamed out or they're disintegrating, then the foam inside the tweeter is also disintegrating. So I can't wait for the reduced high end, the more balanced sound that I'm looking for out of these. Should be great. So thank you all for watching. Like I said, the links to everything that I used in the video, the foam, the cord that I used, and also another video that's probably even better than this one to show you more of how to change out that foam, and also other fun stuff. So please like and subscribe. Thank you all. Have good audio. We'll see you guys later.